Negative reinforcement is a concept in behavioral psychology where a behavior increases because it removes or reduces an unpleasant stimulus. It is important to note that negative does not mean bad in this context, but refers to the removal of something. For example, when you put on sunscreen to avoid a sunburn, the behavior of applying sunscreen is reinforced because it eliminates the unpleasant consequence of a sunburn. This process strengthens the likelihood of the behavior happening again in the future. The concept of negative reinforcement originated from the work of B.F. Skinner, a psychologist who studied behaviorism. Skinner used operant conditioning, a method that examines how consequences shape behavior. He introduced the idea that behaviors can be increased or decreased depending on whether they are followed by reinforcement or punishment. Negative reinforcement was a key part of this theory, emphasizing how removing an aversive stimulus can encourage certain behaviors. Skinner's research was conducted in controlled environments like the Skinner box, where animals such as rats or pigeons learned to press levers to stop an unpleasant noise, illustrating negative reinforcement in action. Now let's look at some examples. Imagine a student who completes their homework to avoid being scolded by their teacher. In this case, the removal of the teacher's scolding encourages the behavior of doing homework. Another example is when someone takes an aspirin to relieve a headache. The disappearance of the headache reinforces the behavior of taking medicine when pain occurs. In a workplace setting, an employee might finish tasks early to avoid being assigned extra work. The avoidance of additional responsibilities reinforces the habit of completing tasks efficiently. However, negative reinforcement is not without its criticisms. One criticism is that it can sometimes lead to unintended consequences. For instance, if a parent always gives in to a child's tantrums to stop the screaming, the child's tantrum behavior may actually increase because it effectively removes the parent's resistance. Another criticism is that it may not address the root cause of the behavior. For example, if an employee procrastinates because of stress but only works quickly to avoid reprimands, the stress causing the procrastination remains unaddressed. Over time, this could lead to burnout or dissatisfaction. Lastly, negative reinforcement can sometimes be confused with punishment, which can lead to improper applications. Unlike reinforcement, punishment aims to reduce a behavior, but people might mistakenly think that any unpleasant experience counts as reinforcement, which can dilute its effectiveness or lead to harmful practices. Now let's consider some alternatives to negative reinforcement. One alternative is positive reinforcement, where desirable behaviors are encouraged by adding a rewarding stimulus. For example, instead of nagging a student to do homework, a teacher could offer praise or a small reward when the student completes their work. This method focuses on building positive associations. Another alternative is shaping, which involves gradually guiding behavior toward the desired outcome through successive approximations. For instance, if a person is afraid of public speaking, they might first practice speaking in front of a small group, with positive feedback at each stage.